Hello and welcome back to Saxon Math. This is lesson 85, using cross products to solve proportions. We have compared fractions by writing the fractions with common denominators. A variation of this method is to determine whether two fractions have equal cross products. We actually covered this a little bit in the previous few lessons, but if the cross products are equal, then the fractions are equal. The cross products of two fractions are found by cross multiplication, as you can see here. So if you have 3/4 and 6/8, you can see that they are equal fractions because 4 times 6 equals 24 and 8 times 3 equals 24. The cross products are equal, therefore 3/4 is an equivalent fraction to 6/8. The equal fractions have equal cross products. So that's one way to test whether they're proportionate or they're equal fractions. So in example 1, use cross products to determine whether 3/5 and 4/7 are equal. So you simply take 7 times 3 and 5 times 4. Notice how it's the cross products. The path crosses each other. That's why they call it cross products. So 5 times 4 equals 20, and 7 times 3 equals 21. Therefore, these two fractions are not equal. Because of that, this one being 20 and this one being 21 means the cross products being not equal means 3/5 is not equal to 4/7. They're not the same. When we find the cross products of two fractions, we are simply renaming the fractions with common denominators. The common denominator is the product of the two denominators and usually not written. Look again at the two fractions we compared, 3/5 and 4/7. The denominators are 5 and 7. If we multiply 3/5 by 7/7 and 4/7 by 5/5, we form two fractions that have common denominators. This one would be 21/35, and this would be 20/35. The numerators of the renamed fractions are 21 and 20, which are the cross products of the fractions. So when we compare cross products, we are actually comparing the numerators of the renamed fractions. So you can tell now that 3/5 is actually slightly greater than 4/7 as well. Example 2, do these two ratios form a proportion? So again, you take 8/12, and if it is equal to 12/18, you can determine that by using your cross product method. Multiply each of those times each other. If the cross products of the two ratios are equal, then the ratios are going to be equal and therefore form a proportion. To find the cross products of the ratios above, we multiply 8 by 18 and 12 by 12. And 18 times 8 equals 144, and 12 times 12 equals 144. So the ratios form a proportion because the cross products are equal to each other. Since the equivalent ratios have equal cross products, we can use cross products to find an unknown term in a proportion. By cross multiplying, we form an equation. Then we solve the equation to find the unknown term of the proportion. So for example 3, use cross products to complete this proportion. So if you have 6 times m, that's what this would be. 6 times m is the same as 9 times 10. And now if we were to divide this side by 6, we now have m by itself, which equals 9 times 10 divided by 6. And I would probably notice that you could both of these are divisible by 3. 3 divided by 9 divided by 3 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And now I can see that 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So all I'd be left with is 15 for M, the value of M. So the cross product being that would result in the unknown term being 15, and you can complete the proportion now. 6/9 is equal to 10/15. Example 4, use cross products to find the unknown term in this proportion. 15 is to 21 as what number is to 70? So 15 is to 21 as what number, let's just use W, as is to 70. So I'd have to take 70 times 15 and 21 times W. So 21 times W is the same as 15 times 70. And if I would just divide this by 21, now I have W equaling this equation here. And instead of taking 15 times 70, I see that there's some numbers that have, they're a little bit compatible here, because I see that 15 is divisible by 3. 15 divided by 5 is 5. Or sorry, divided by 3 is 5. 21 divided by 3 is 7. And now look what happens. Another compatibility thing here happens. 70 divided by 7 is 10, and 7 divided by 7 is 1. So now all I'm left with is 5 times 10 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. I know what that is. W equals 50. So I would just plug that 50 into the position for W to create the proportion. All right, let's practice this. So letter A, use cross products to determine whether each pair of ratios forms a proportion. So for letter A, 6 is to 9 as 7 is to 11. We need to cross multiply. I know that this is 63. 9 times 7 is 63. 11 times 6 is 66. So these do not form a proportion. Not proportionate. Okay, and letter B, 6/8 and 9/12. So cross multiplying, I see that 6 times 10 would be 60, 6 times 2 would be 12, 12 plus 60 is 72, and I know what 8 times 9 is, that's 72 as well. Those are proportionate. So yes, this is proportionate. And letter C, 6 is to 10 as 9 is to what number? So I need to make the equation 6x equals 10 times 9. I'm going to divide both sides by 6, this side by 6. I'm going to recognize that this is divisible by 2, that would be 5. This is also divisible by 2, that would be 3. And this is divisible by 3, which would be 3. And this is also divisible by 3, which would be 1. So that means x equals 15 for the final answer of this one. X equals 15. And that would be the thing that would allow us to complete the proportion. 6/9 equals 9/15. Letter D, 12 is to 16 as what number is to 20? So I have to make the equation 12 times 20 equals 16 times y. And I'm going to divide this by 16 on this side, and then divide by 16 on this side. These are both divisible by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. That means y equals 15 because 3 times 5 equals 15. This is 1 in the denominator. 15 divided by 1 is 15. So that'd be the final answer for that one. Y equals 15 as well. And then letter E, use cross products to find the unknown term in this proportion. So for letter E, you have 10 is to 15 as 30 is to what number? Let me just use W again. So I'd have 30 times 15 equaling 10 times W. Now I need to divide by 10 over here. That becomes 1 times W because 10 divided by 10 is 1. And because it says it's equal, I have to do the same exact thing to the other side of the equation to allow it to remain equal. So I have to divide by 10 over here because I divided by 10 on this side. So it's still equal. I did the exact same thing. I was fair and balanced on both sides of the equation. So now I see that 30 divided by 10, that's pretty easy. 30 divided by 10 is the same as 3 over 1. And now I just have 3 times 15 here equaling W. So W is going to equal 3 times 10 is 30 and 3 times 5 is 15. 30 plus 15 makes 45. So W equals 45 in this case. So the cross product ends up being 10 is to 15 as 30 is to 45, or W, or whatever the unknown factor or unknown term in the proportion was 45. All right, excellent work. Remind yourself, go back and look at the lesson if you missed something. Also, don't forget to do all 30 problems in written practice, 1 through 30. It's very important in Saxon math. That's the only way you get your practice on previous lessons. And if you missed anything in previous lessons, make sure you go back to the Ed Puzzles or the YouTube channel and you check them out. Review it. All right. Have a good night.